You know, back in middle school when they taught us it was 3 branches of the government. We forgot it when we got older. It's the judicial, the legislative, and executive. But all we know is the executive. That's the mayor or the governor and the president. Now none of them 3 people make no laws. They just be checking it. The laws come to their desk and all they do is say no or yes to it. So when the news station tried to tell us that Barack Obama couldn't put us on, we was all salty at Obama when it was the Congress members all along. We gotta focus on the legislative branch. Yeah, they the ones that make the laws. Yeah, they the ones rank how much food stamp money you get on the card. But when people that wanted to help us wanted the job, I know they probably lost. Cause we ain't even know their name, we ain't know their face, we ain't know it all. So the Congress or the State House, that's legislative, they make laws. So what we want from the president is what they do. Okay, y'all? See, they election every 2 years, but we don't ever even go to those. The Congress, they can raise minimum wage, but we ain't even really know it though.
Get up, stand up, have a plan, check your status, yes you can. Get up, stand up, have a plan, check your status, yes you can. Your voice, your vote, your voice, your vote. It's your power. Stand up, have a plan, check your status, yes you can. Get up, stand up, have a plan, check your status, yes you can. Our voice, our vote, our voice, our vote. It's our power. It's our power. It's our power. It's our power. It's the social action shuffle. Yes, our social action shuffle. Do our social action shuffle. Join our social action shuffle. Use our power. Use our power. Let's use our power. Use our power. Let me hear you say, use our power. Use our power. Let's use our power. We've got to use our power and vote.
First thing first, you know, back in middle school when they taught us it was 3 branches of the government. We forgot it when we got older. It's the judicial, the legislative, and executive. But all we know is the executive. That's the mayor or the governor and the president. Now none of them 3 people make no laws. They just be checking it. The laws come to their desk and all they do is say no or yes to it. So when the news station tried to tell us that Barack Obama couldn't put us on, we was all salty at Obama when it was the Congress members all along. We gotta focus on the legislative branch. Yeah, they the ones that make the laws.
As you can see, that the ladies of Stone Mountain Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta, we're out here in these streets. From the video clips that we are using our voice, we're speaking out and we're empowering others. Welcome to these Social Action Streets Civics 101 podcast series, brought to you by the Social Action Committee of the Stone Mountain Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, where civic education meets community empowerment. The members of SM-LAC and President Candace Simon Hall are grateful you decided to tune in. We ask that you share, invite, and engage during the time you spend with us. We're so excited you're joining us today as we continue on a journey towards civic empowerment, education, and action. Many people only think about politics every 4 years during the presidential election, but the truth is that most decisions impact our daily life. This podcast series is here to make civics easy to understand. We want you to feel empowered, to be engaged, vote, and hold your leaders accountable. Facilitating today's discussion is Sora Tana Johnson.
Thank you, Sora Marcia. Voting is one of the most powerful ways we can shape our future and have our voices heard. Yet many in our community are unaware of how crucial their participation is for every election. Civics 101 is here to inform and empower you about why voting matters. We'll also dive into the important laws surrounding voting, including how to navigate situations where people may have temporarily lost their voting rights. And key things everyone should know to make their vote count. It's time to break down the barriers, build awareness, and ensure that every voice is heard because change begins when we show up at the polls. Today, we are excited to have members of the Gwinnett section of National Council of Negro Women join us to navigate this powerful topic. Dr. Carol Williams is an assistant principal with 26 years in education, a political organizer since high school, and facilitator of NCNW's first Youth Political Empowerment Forum. Hello, Dr. Williams.
Hello. So nice to meet you. Thank you for having us here tonight.
Nice to meet you as well. Catrice Mitchell, 24-year veteran teacher and active NCNW member, known for youth forums, voter engagement events, and political campaign organizing. Hi, Catrice.
Hi, good evening.
Ethel London is a licensed professional counselor, NCNW financial secretary, civic leader, and former assistant field operations manager for a nonpartisan judicial campaign. Hi, Ethel.
Hello.
So let's get the party started. First question, Ethel, why is voting so important for the Black community? Can you explain how voting impacts local and national policies that affect Black communities specifically? And how has voting historically empowered Black individuals and communities?
Okay. Yes, thank you for that question. Voting is crucial for the Black community because it's our voice and our power. Throughout history, our ancestors fought, bled, and died for our right to vote because they knew it was their way to get real change. As a Black woman from Alabama, voting means everything to me. Voting is about not just about how we choose a candidate, but it's about making sure our communities receive the resources that they deserve and need. From local policies that impact our schools, healthcare, to national decisions on criminal justice and economic empowerment. Voting is how we make sure our needs are met. It's about how we keep pushing forward. That is why I show up at the poll. Voting, it is our duty, it is our voice, and it is our power.
Amen. Thank you. I agree. It's definitely our power. Dr. Williams, how does voting help shape the future for future generations, especially within the Black community? Can you share an example of how the Black community's voting power has led to tangible change in the past?
Well, like you said, I think the theme that I've heard so far is about voting is power. Knowledge is power. And so by voting, we're expressing that we're interested in making a change. And we become more informed and we're more knowledgeable about what are we voting for and what is taking place. Some of the most recent actions that have taken place that have showed the importance of voting, I thought back to 2008, November 2008. Standing in line, waiting to vote for the opportunity for our first Black president. I remember the excitement from my uncle who said, I never thought I'd live to see the day of a Black man or a colored person becoming president. That excitement just reignited what my grandmother had instilled in me when she talked to me about that as a child and marching on Washington. I remember the enthusiasm and excitement as we waited in line and people said, why do we have to wait so long? But then someone said, well, we wait this long if we go out and have a good time and have to wait to get in the line to go get our dance on. So why not come out here and vote? And I just remembered that excitement. We were doing line dancing and everyone sharing stories about what took place during that time. And the excitement that we had for the watch party to see people that looked like us on the political platform and see children that look like our children in the White House for 2 terms.
So that excitement is something that many of our children in our future can see. And then also, even for this most recent election, to have our girls be able to see someone that looks like them, someone who is college educated, who withstood so many obstacles and challenges, even during a short time, gave us hope and gave us an opportunity to see someone that looks like us. So there are so many recent things that we can see that can make that connection and that excitement that everyone had. There was so much on social media where everyone was taking selfies with their stickers, their peach stickers, to show that they went out to vote. So that's something that really reignited and got the word out about the importance of voting, because it showed that each vote counted and how many people we broke records, not just in Georgia, but nationwide, for people to come out to vote. And so that excitement, as I'm telling you this, I'm just getting so excited of the enthusiasm and knowing that we were a part of that as well with all of the events.
Thank you, Dr. Williams. I got excited as you were sharing the story. Ethel, what role do local election plays in the lives of Black voters? How do local elections influence everyday life, such as education, housing, and law enforcement? And why is it essential to vote in both presidential and local elections?
Yes, local elections play a critical role in the lives of Black voters because they directly impact our everyday experience, far more than most people realize. While working on a nonpartisan campaign, I met so many people who was passionate about the presidential election, but didn't see the importance of voting locally. The truth is, local elections shape the policies that impact our everyday life, like school boards, housing, public safety, and so much more. For example, a school board member decides how the resources are allocated in our children's classroom, while city council members, they make decisions about affordable housing and community development. Even law enforcement practices are influenced by elected officials like your sheriff or your district attorney. These decisions determine how fairly the Black community is treated and how well their needs are met. The presidential election is important, but the president sets the national agenda. But it's the local leaders who decide on how policies are implemented where we live. We miss out on shaping our very system that impact our daily lives when we do not show up at local election. So showing up at a local election is very important to make sure you have the life that you want to live in your community.
Thank you, Ethel. I like to say everything is political, right?
Yes.
It touches everything.
Mm-hmm.
Patrice, what are the basic legal requirements for voting in the U.S. in terms of age, citizenship, registration? Can you explain how someone can check their voter registration status, and what are the deadlines and important dates that people should be aware of before an election?
Yes, that's a great question. So there are certain rules that you need to know in order to register to vote. So the first thing is you can be 17 and a half or at least 18 years old to vote. You need to have a valid ID or driver's license or a state ID with a number on it. Or you can use your passport if you want to use that to register to vote. Also, another thing is you can go to find out where you can vote. You can go to, it's called My Voter page on georgia.gov. And on there is a link, and they can show the flyer that we sent. It has all the websites on there that you can go to, and it can actually, you put in your information, your address, your name, and your date of birth, and it will actually tell you where. At first you can check your status, and then it can tell you where your polling precincts are. And that is what you really need. And some of the important dates to remember, and we don't have them right now because there are no elections currently going on for 2025 right now. So, but you need to make sure when you are registering to vote, check the last day that you can register, especially for the upcoming 2026 election. I believe we will have a Senate seat coming up. And so you can go to that My Voter page as well, and you can check there, and they will tell you how to vote and where you can't go to vote. And also you can look at like the Georgia Secretary of State's page as well. They can give you a lot of information that you need about also absentee ballots. When do you need to receive it by, and when does it have to be turned in by? Because as we know, last year or this past election cycle, there was a problem with some people getting their ballots in. Well, first of all, receiving them in a timely manner and then giving them back. And even a friend of mine was impacted by that because she moved to Delaware. And so she ended up having to bring her ballot back here because she was still registered before, because she only moved like 2 months before. So they didn't give it to her. So she had to come and take it back to get it in time. So just make sure that you're aware of those deadlines that you will need.
Thank you, Catrice. I know we have shared a page, and definitely will make sure the resources are available. Voter resource page is integral. It has links on it. My voter registration is important. 17 and a half was kind of new. I think we always hear 18, right? So that 17 and a half is a good call out. And then while we don't have state or federal maybe this year, check your local elections and see what all is involved and on the ballot. Sometimes they sneak in some of the unknown or lesser known races. So definitely worth checking out.
They will do that sometimes. And also, I believe on this sheet, there is a page, a link for, I believe it's the voter protection hotline as well for elections. So if you feel like something is happening and you're not being given your ballot in time, that number is also there, and you can call them to report that, and they can also assist you in trying to make sure you're able to obtain and cast your ballot.
Awesome. That is critical. We definitely want to be able to know our rights even as we are trying to vote.
Yes.
Thank you. Ethel, what are some common barriers that Black individuals face when it comes to voting? Are there any misconceptions about voting in today's world, especially regarding voter ID laws and voter suppression tactics? How can we overcome some of these barriers to ensure everyone's voice is heard?
Yes. One of the most common challenges I encountered was people not knowing whether they were eligible to vote. Some thought they couldn't vote because of a past conviction or because they moved, while others were unsure about registration deadlines or what type of ID they'd even need to show up with. There are a lot of misconceptions out there, especially when it comes, as you stated, to voter ID law. Many people don't realize that even if you don't have a driver's license, that state ID can be your form of identification. And as stated, passport. There are several different types of acceptable IDs and documents that you can use. On top of that, as you stated, voter suppression tactics like merging voter rolls or reducing polling locations make it harder for our communities to participate in their right to vote. But as a trusted messenger, the trusted messenger is someone who's boots on the ground, out in the field, out in the community, engaging with people, and they're used to you sharing information. So as trusted messengers, we all can help by knocking down these barriers of misinformation, by encouraging people to go to their My Voter page, to check their status, to make sure they know their polling location, to check and verify what form of ID they need. That's also why I'm planning to get trained to register to vote. That was another barrier that I noticed. Some people wasn't registered or didn't know how to register. So when you're a trusted messenger and you're in the field, being able to help people register right then, take out their excuse. So I'm looking forward to being trained to help people be registered to vote. That way, when we're doing voter education workshops, when we're out engaging in the community, and someone say, well, I'm not sure if I'm registered, their voting status can be checked, or if needed, they can be registered right there on the spot. It's important as a trusted messenger. We're in the communities doing voter education. We're at events where the community is at, we're at church, and we're online, help kind of de-escalating all the misinformation, helping them understand what their rights are.
Thank you. It is very important. You never know how you might be impacted. I will say in 2020 during that election, I sold my house due to the pandemic. It was moving, but was in between homes in that situation. And if I had known more, I probably would have done a little bit differently, but I was able to close on my home in time to get registered to vote. Like the next day, I was like, I'm registering just to make sure. But if I'd known I had more options, I probably would have adjusted a little bit. So definitely the resources are valuable and the information and having those people, the boots on the ground, which is big right now, but having people in our community and to be able to help us with answering those questions is critical.
Yes.
Let's see. Dr. Williams, what should people know about voter rights, especially for those who may have temporarily lost their voting rights due to possible felony convictions? What steps can individuals take if they've lost their voting rights and what want to regain them?
Well, first, we have to embrace our brother or our sister who may have not been able to do so because a lot of times they feel like they just give up, like life is over once they have been released from jail or from prison. And so building them back up, number one, is important. Number two, all hope is not lost. In many states, there are different laws. Here in Georgia, this person does lose his or her rights until the completion of the sentence or the probationary period. But once that person has completed that time, it is reinstated. The bottom line is just ask questions and really go and find out and advocate for yourself, because a lot of times they don't know what to do. And that's the problem with many things. If you don't know, we can ask questions. Nowadays, we have technology, Siri, YouTube, the internet, everything out there to help. So each one teach one. So build them up and then realize that here in Georgia, if that happens, he or she will be able to have those voting rights reinstated. If the address or anything has moved, the person can, again, go update that information. Also, prison officials update and inform the election officials if the individuals, once the individual's rights have been restored. So there is a communication aspect to let them know that their rights are being restored. But if they do not and they have questions, they certainly can go to the nearest poll site to find out what they can do to get back in and continue to exercise their vote.
Thank you. That's very important. It's a piece of returning back. And so definitely important for us to be able to share that information and grow awareness. I'm coming back to you, Dr. Williams. How can we ensure that our votes are counted, especially in light of misinformation and changing in voting laws? What should people look out for when casting their ballots? Particularly when voting by mail or at a polling stations? And what are some tips for navigating changes in voting laws and election procedures?
Sure. So first of all, we have to research. We have to know ahead of time, and we can't wait until the last minute. Voting should be a major priority. I remember I could not wait when I turned 18 to get ready to vote. And no matter what the election is, I have not missed an election because it is so important for me. So we have to instill the importance of voting, regardless of what it can be. We can make that time after our work hours to go and vote. Know the dates, know the times, know the locations. Also, we have to make sure that our information is current. So as you stated earlier, if you've moved, if there's been a name change or anything, especially as all of these difficulties and challenges try to come our way, if our information is incorrect, that could be something that can hold us up from being able to vote. So therefore, making sure that we vote early, making sure our information is current. Honestly, the way the news is and with the mail and what I call the snail mail, if a person is able, and if we can help a person by driving them to the polls to drop off their ballot and get it there in person, I would highly encourage that because we know recently in the news how the mail has been going and mail has been lost. We should really just take that directly to the precinct to make sure that it is there. If you are in line, making sure that when you go to the scanner that you see as you place the ballot in, that you place it correctly, following those directions on the machine to make sure it is spaced correctly, and then watch the number as it is counted, and the number will advance to the next number. So really, if a person can truly help our elders or anyone who is not able to do so, get that ballot to the precinct in person or vote early. If you have to do an absentee ballot, that's understandable, but by any means necessary, we want you to vote. But if you can, do it in person or drop it off right there in person in the actual ballot box so you can see it and make sure that it is secure. So you can pull it and then it's going to close and it cannot be tampered with, because we had that during our most recent election as well. So those are some ways that we can try to combat some of those challenges.
Thank you. Take the whole family all at once, multi-generational. Take the grandma, the mama, the babies. Make sure those who are in college as well are doing their part. And so having that little incentive in your community helps. Every little bit helps. Thank you.
It sure does.
We got you for a couple more, Dr. Williams. So
No worries. I'm loving it. I'm having fun.
What are the most common mistakes people make during the voting process, and how can they avoid them? What are some tips for first-time voters to ensure they have all the correct information and documentation when heading to the polls?
Well, one, going again back to research, getting the information, making sure your information is current. When I worked as a poll worker, that was one of the biggest challenges. People moved and they were so busy trying to get the electricity and get the cable and everything else, but their address was not correct. Also, sometimes the locations changed. For some elections, you may go to a local school, while others you have options to go to parks and to go to the actual precinct. So you need to know that information in advance, because you don't want to get there and they say you're at the wrong location. Plan and review. Again, using the websites that have been provided, including voter.com, make sure that you know who you're voting for, what the platform is, reviewing that information in advance to make sure that you have that. And then also continue to not just vote for the presidential elections, but also for the local elections, because those help to make very, very vital decisions. If you're unsure about anything, always ask questions. You can do so using the various sites. You can even go to the websites of the precincts, as well as for your district and your county, to get more information. Many of them have the frequently asked questions column. And then also reach out to someone else that you know that may be involved in organizations to help you through the process. Because sometimes we can feel, well, I don't want to ask questions because it makes me feel as if I don't know. It's okay. It's a learning experience. And what our task is to learn from each other, each one teach one. Research early, and then attend the campaign events to learn more about the campaign, those who are running for office. That's when you can really ask questions that are geared to your community, even geared to your needs. Get to know them, pick their brains, and you will really know, is this someone who's strong enough to go into office? Because there's so much at stake. So ask questions, plan ahead, research, and really know, because knowledge is power. And we, especially as Black people, is so powerful when we can ask questions and others look at us and say, they really know what they're talking about. And we can show them that knowledge is power.
Yes. I think one of the biggest points is having a plan, because in various ways it's going to show up in terms of something with the car or the day, something in your schedule. So what is the plan? And what is the plan once you get there? How do you know to vote, or what to vote for, or what is on the ballot that you can prepare for? And you're not there like, I don't know what this means. But preparing is critical in that space of seeing it through the process.
Absolutely. And if I can just share one more thing, many times they'll also have a sample ballot. So you can take that sample ballot, then go home and practice and write on it. So you can make sure that you indicate yes, no, incumbent, or you can write in a name. And that way, when you go in there, you can take that sheet with you and take that to the machine. Again, you're going in so you're not overwhelmed, especially a new voter or for a senior citizen. They don't feel overwhelmed. They've actually pre-filled out the form, the ballot, and know what they're going in to do. So it builds confidence for those who may be nervous about the process, and it really just expresses knowledge. Because you also have to realize some of those poll workers are not happy to see when we come, and we come out in numbers. So we have to go in there with our head held high and with our paper informed.
Yes, and one thing I want to call out that you're saying is that paper. Have that paper, and many times you're not able to have that cell phone out, or they're not allowing that. So have it on paper. It's a little old school, but it is important because you don't want to get in there and get kind of flustered and forget. And again, it's preparation is key.
Yes, it is.
Let's see. So, Dr. Williams,
Yes.
how can young people ages 20 to 35, and even those young at heart that are
Yes.
older than 35, motivate themselves and others to vote? What are some strategies to encourage young voters to be more engaged in the political process?
Yes, well, just like similar to what you all had, the music, getting the students reaching on their level is so powerful and important. You know, there's so many songs like you all were talking about, Boots on the Ground. I think about Kendrick Lamar, They Not Like Us, you know, just to get them excited and hyped. And then also praise the students for what they did, for example, for the rallies for George Floyd and Black Lives Matter. Our youth really showed up and showed out. And so with that, tap into their talents. So if you have students that in this age group, whether they're at church or they're in college or community college or working, tap into their talents. You know, those who may be writers or artists, they can help develop flyers to help get out the vote or create social media platforms. Help them to get in what our former late Congressman John Lewis said, getting in some good trouble to help us get out the vote. You know, leading us it's important for us to lead by example for our kids, to help leave a legacy of excellence and of leadership, encouraging them to get involved, expressing the importance of voting. You know, YouTube and all of these platforms have so many great videos about the importance of voting. And then there are so many of our young people who are boots on the ground getting things done. And so highlighting what they're doing, getting our great speakers, those students who are good or oral speakers, to speak out. And if they're in school, in their social studies class, see if you can push them in that direction to help them get involved, because they're our future. And it's so important for that. And going back to thinking about our ancestors, you know, this is our future. You know, they are getting older. They need to know what's going on. It's not just about all the other current events that are happening. Voting makes a big difference. And so just getting out there to help. Also, if there can be some trips planned to like the civil rights museums, or there can be a family and college night to see movies about the civil rights era, to give them the history. Because if they don't know the history, they don't know why it is important of what we're doing right now. So it's important to get them motivated, but through our actions. Don't speak at them, show them. So if you take a child to the polls, show them how you're getting involved for campaigns and elections. They can see it through your actions and they can understand it. And be available to ask questions. You know, a lot of times we were talked at. But it's important to engage them in the conversations and find out their interests, and letting them know, just as if they're in high school, where in their high school they had to vote for a senior prom king and queen. Well, we need to figure out how we're going to vote for our president, and which parties and on which topics. So modeling, leading by example, and really getting on their level so they can understand that they're not like us, but we're still going to strive for excellence, and knowing that knowledge is power through voting.
I love it. Thank you, Dr. Williams. Patrice, what resources can people access to stay informed and engaged in the voting process? Are there community organizations, websites, or platforms that help educate Black voters about elections, candidates, and policies? And where can we find more information about candidates running for office and the issues they care about?
So yes, you can. They're on that flyer again. You have the voter education tab. So you can actually go into Ballot Ready. And if you go into Ballot Ready, it is the you can put in your address and everything there, and then you can check your registration, but as well as you can meet your representatives. So if you go in, if you click on the link, once you put in your information, and you can click on meet your representatives, and you can click on either federal, state, and local, and they will tell you who all of your local officials are. And if you actually like select one of their names, it will actually give you their contact information, and they'll tell you their title and everything. So you can definitely use that to figure out how to do some voter education. But you also have the the Women League of Voters, the League of Women Voters that you can go to. You can also check out Vote 411, as well as vote.org. So all of those websites will give you pertinent information that you need as far as registering to vote, checking your status, how to see who your local officials are and what races are actually happening. And I actually was on the ballot. No, I'm sorry. I went to 411.org, and they actually do have the upcoming Georgia election dates. I know like in Cobb County on the April 29th, there's a special election for Cobb County Commissioner. So if you go on that website, it will show you all of the dates that are upcoming, and you can figure out, from there, like, is this my district? Does this involve me or concern me? So those are some great websites that you can use, and just make sure you refer back to that, and all those links are posted.
Thank you. All that information right at our fingertips,
Yes.
readily available to access or to contact or learn about our representatives at the local, state, and federal level is no excuse. But I also have to plug in a QR code that we have available through the Stone Mountain Lithonia Alumni Chapter Social Action Committee. We have the Get Out the Vote, Check Your Status QR code. So have it up there, have your phone, check it out, and you can check your voter registration status right there. Mm-hmm. And that's for anyone in Georgia or across the country. It takes you to the resource to check your status. So definitely wanted to give a shout out and plug for that resource. But no excuse for not being aware or informed, because we have it all available right at our hands. Yes. Catrice, I know that you shared the upcoming election in Cobb County. Any others that you are aware of coming up?
Not as of now. I was on the actual website, and I was trying to see if there are any pertinent upcoming things. A lot of them are like special primaries for like Public Service Commissioner and things of that nature. So, and I think they have the runoff dates if they're needed. Mm-hmm. So if you just go to that website, on there, they will tell you everything that you need to know based upon your area, because you will have to go in and like click on the dates or on the month, and then it gives you a drop down of all the different things that are going on. So you can check for each month to see which ones apply to you, your district, or your county, or wherever you are residing.
Thank you. And I think we see some information scrolling across the screen for the Public Service Commissioner coming up. So the special primary, the advanced voting dates are May 27th to June 13th, along with the actual election date is June 17, 2025. So check that out if you are local to Gwinnett area. And then let's see, want to make sure there is a municipal general election for that role as well in November 4th. So
yes.
Form.
Also, the big one that is also coming up will be for next year, because Senator John Ossoff's seat is up for re-election. Mm-hmm. But I know that those elections are coming up, so we definitely want to be informed and make sure that you know what you're voting for, as well. So you can check that site that I gave you previously with Vote 411 that will tell you all the information about the different candidates once people start announcing their candidacy for those different elections.
Thank you. Tons of information. I think one thing we learned, depending on where you are, you want to always check for your voter registration status, confirm that you are registered to vote, as well as confirming who your representatives are, reaching out to them. And are there any local elections that are coming up that might not be in the news? It might not be on social media, but it's still important because it impacts you in some way. And every election is critical. I definitely want to thank you for all of this great, valuable information today. It was wonderful, very valuable content. I want to send it over to our soror, Marcia Williams, to close us out.
Wow, that was some great information, just a wealth of knowledge. And with that being said, a huge thank you to our guests, Dr. Carol Williams, Ms. Catrice Mitchell, and Ms. Ethel London from the Gwinnett section of the National Council of Negro Women. We appreciate the incredible work you're doing and the wisdom you shared. And to our listeners, we hope you're walking away feeling more confident in your power and clearer about the power of your vote. This is just the beginning. Join us next time as we continue this journey of civic education and empowerment. And now here's more of SM-LAC in these social action streets.
You know, back in middle school when they taught us it was 3 branches of the government, we forgot it when we got older. It's the judicial, the legislative, and executive. But all we know is the executive. That's the mayor or the governor and the president. Now none of them 3 people make no laws, they just be checking them. The laws come to their desk and all they do is say no or yes to it. So when the news station tried to tell us that Barack Obama couldn't put us on, we was all salty at Obama when it was the Congress members all along. We gotta focus on the legislative branch, yeah, they the ones that make the laws. Yeah, they the ones right how much food stamp money you get on the card. But when people that wanted to help us wanted the job, I know they probably lost. Cause we ain't even know their name, we ain't know their face, we ain't know it all. So the Congress or the State House, that's legislative, they make laws. So what we want from the president is what they do. Okay, y'all? See, they election every 2 years, but we don't never even go to those. The Congress, they can raise minimum wage, but we ain't even really know it though.
Get up, stand up, have a plan, check your status, yes you can. Get up, stand up, have a plan, check your status, yes you can. Your voice, your vote, your voice, your vote. It's your power. Stand up, have a plan, check your status, yes you can. Get up, stand up, have a plan, check your status, yes you can. Our voice, our vote, our voice, our vote. It's our power. It's our power. It's our power. It's our power. It's the social action shuffle. Yes, our social action shuffle. Do our social action shuffle. Join our social action shuffle. Use our power. Use our power. Let's use our power. Use our power. Let me hear you say, use our power. Use our power. Let's use our power. We've got to use our power and